tonight, which is actually the North Nodes and learning your Dharma through astrology. And I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Achilles is just going to kind of watch for me on both ends. We're going to let everyone know that we're going to go ahead and mute everyone. If Achilles can do that for me. I'm just going to welcome in everyone who will be rolling in this evening. But we're going to keep the chat room going tonight when it comes to any of your questions that you have in regards to your Dharma or your North Node and what that means, because I've got a lot of stuff to get through tonight. And I want to try to keep it at an hour if at all possible, because there is so much information. But I'm just going to share really quickly that this idea of learning your North Node really was a huge eye opener for me when I started my journey learning astrology. And it was probably one of my biggest aha moments, because in actuality, I was fighting my North Node and I didn't know it. And when I learned what it was and I learned to embrace it is when things shifted very quickly for myself. It's not to say that I still don't have those little bumps, but when we can embrace this aspect of ourselves and understand our enlightenment process and what we're here to learn this time, that's when the fun and the magic can really be enhanced, and you can kind of go to the next level of who you are, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip the screen. Oh, not that. What do I want? I want this, right? Let's see, peeps. Get y'all situated. All right. And even if you don't know what your North Node is or where it looks or where it's represented, just take a deep breath. I'm going to take you through all of it so that you will remember and learn, so that you can take this to other people, other family members, because the great news is that as you're learning this for yourself, you can also take a look at it for everybody around you, and learn how to interact with different people in different ways when you understand people's North Nodes. So welcome to the Clarity Room and the North Nodes today. We're going to learn our Dharma through astrology. So one of the reasons that I'm doing these little sections of astrology is because it can be very, very overwhelming if you are on a learning curve trying to understand and learn more about yourself. But there's such a value in learning about yourself to a different degree of not what culture has told you, not what your parents, not what your church or your non-church or your school. It has nothing to do what people have told you. It's actually taking this learning from a science that is, 2,000 years old. People have been studying the stars and understanding it. And although I think there are people out there who still want to poo-poo astrology as a scientific avenue, that's okay. It's not for everyone. I'm here just welcoming those who are really wanting to learn more about when they came into the world, what were they choosing, what was part of their journey here, as of their lessons and what they're here to learn. So North Nodes are not planets. Here's the difference. Everything else that you've probably heard or read about in regards to astrology are your planets or your houses, and they all represent planetary emotions and meanings behind it. But your nodes are not a planet. And that's why you have to learn these because it's not going to be an easy thing. It won't be something that you recognize like, oh yeah, like let's say you're a Leo and you're like, oh, I already know I'm a Leo. I know what it's all about. I'm here to be seen and heard. I'm here to be more creative. I probably I have more like childlike wonder than most people. So that's good and well. And so you would understand that. But if you didn't know what your North Node was, part of your purpose in this lifetime would not be discovered until you studied your North Node. That's why I think it's really important for people to understand it. And the other reason is because when I do life purpose readings for people and I look at their astrology, I also look at their astrogeography, which tells me more about their planetary lines on the whole world, which gives me a better idea of places that might be a better alignment for yourself. And your North Node is on that. So if you're somebody who wants to really experience the North Node experience, I could tell you specifically on your chart where it is that you should go visit, or yeah, if you could do a vacation in that area, it would be exciting to hear about, because we have a lot of people in the membership site, the Clarity Room, who are actually moving to different parts of their astrogeography charts. So that's why I think it's really important that you get to learn ourselves. And I don't mean, when I'm talking about learning about yourself, it isn't in a way that boxes you in. It isn't in a way that makes you, what's the word? It's not in a way that's going to give you a belief that you have to stand firm on. It's actually a perception about how you are here to view your world and how you're here to interact with it. Okay, Achilles. So since I can't see anyone, I'm just going to ask you really quick. Are we all good? Every systems are go? Things are A-okay?
Yeah, we're A-okay. The questions, one question I've got is for the nodes.
Yes.
Since the nodes aren't planets,
Yes.
what exactly are they? Are they like, I guess maybe the question is it a material object? No. Like a planet would be, or is it more about like the time of the year, that kind of thing?
Okay, that's a good question. So actually the nodes are all about, and it's a mathematical thing. It's not really important to have a huge explanation on, but they're mathematical points which take in, it takes into account it, when they calculate it on your chart, they take a look at your sun, your moon, and your earth, and how it relates to your what's the word, ecliptic seasons, kind of.
So node is more of an alignment type thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So you like, so if you see the symbol on astro.com, or you're looking up your astrology chart somewhere else, it could also be called your true node, TRUE, true node. I call it the North Node. It just depends on where you're getting the evidence. So let's talk a little bit about that. What is the North Node? So like I said, it's not a planetary body. It really has to do with the eclipses and your suns and your moons, and it's a mathematical collaboration, which thank goodness I don't have to learn. I just can go onto the chart and find it at what it is. It can also, like I said, be called the true node. And the great news is that as somebody who is helping other people, like what I do on my one-on-ones, is that when I'm helping people, the North Node is always the opposite of the South Node. And you'll hear me referencing that throughout tonight's class. And why I say that is because North Node is new to you. It'll stretch you. South Node is easy for you because you came through probably from your last lifetime learning that South Node. That'll make more sense to you in just a minute. So North Node is what's going to stretch you, which is going to help you in this lifetime. It may feel very foreign to you at the beginning, especially if you're younger, say if you're in your 20s. I find typically by the time people are hit their 40s, just a generalization, I don't know if every astrologer would say that, but I usually find that people are already stretching for their North Node without even knowing that what their North Node is. And if they're not, they'll be stretching for it here and there, and it feels good when they do that. Again, that'll make sense in a minute. And what it shows us is where we get to spiritually grow. And that is what we call the Dharma. And that's why I called it, we're learning our Dharma through astrology. Because what is Dharma? Dharma is actually a Hindu and Buddhist concept. And it means paving the way to enlightenment. So some astrologers will say that the North Node is the quickest route to your enlightenment for this lifetime, because of course, every time we come in and have a life, we have an opportunity that we want to grow and learn something within this particular cycle of life. And Dharma also represents how you are to be of service to the world. So North Node Dharma means we're paving our way to enlightenment, which means we're learning more about who we are and how we're here to service the world. And that's important. That's a big part. Probably the number one question I get with hypnosis is, Am I doing what I'm supposed to do this lifetime? And the North Node will tell you that specifically. And the best news about all of this is that everyone's Dharma is different and it's going to be played out differently and very uniquely. So if you have a life partner, a spouse, your person, if you have children, cousins, nephews, coworkers, business partnerships, the interesting part is when you learn your own Dharma and then can go ahead and take a look at all of those other people that you interact with and learn their Dharma, all of a sudden, the way you interact, how you talk, how you support, especially with your children, how you support them changes dramatically, because a lot of the times when we're younger, you don't need to know. And you probably won't know what your Dharma is, right? That's what that's what childhood's about. It's about just experiencing and taking in different things here and there to learn more about who you are. But as a parent looking at it, it always helps you to know, they're here to be seen and heard this lifetime. And she's really struggling being seen and heard. So I'm going to just gently help her out with that.
Okay, so I have a question for you on that one, because this one that I got directly addresses that. So if a husband and wife, for example, they have the same true node, but the numbers before and after are different, how does that factor?
If the numbers...
They say the true node AQU is what I have here. It says, but the numbers before and after are different. How do they figure in?
Well, it's going to depend on your houses. Is that what they're talking about? It's probably the houses. Houses is different, and it will play it differently. So tonight I'm not talking about the houses because I don't have enough time to do that. We can do private readings for that. But what it's going to be is I'm going to give you the overall general view of what your North Node is. And then depending upon your house and which house it lies in, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute on the chart, it does change it up dramatically. And I'll give you a good example of that when we get to my North Node placement, because I've got a story on that. So those are good questions. Keep them coming. I'm going to hold off on answering more of that one, okay, until we get to that point. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. So here is astro.com. This is the North Node, and this is where I've told people you can go and find out and get your chart for free. It'll save it on there. If you log in, you can save your whole families on there, which is awesome. And this is what it looks like when we're looking for our North Node. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at a chart right now. Can everyone see the chart? I got to move my face here a little bit.
Yeah, I see the chart.
Okay. So this, I'm circling with my cursor right here. This is a North Node. In Astro, it kind of looks like there's a T inside of it, but this is what it looks like. And it will have a degree. And if that's what the person's talking about, the degrees matter when it comes to aspects of astrology. And that's like not a 101 class. That's much deeper class. So I'm just focusing on, okay, here's the North Node, and this is the sign that this North Node is in, which is in Pisces here. Okay. So let me make sure I go through all of this because there's a lot of detail here. So first of all, when you get into astro.com, you're going to have to put your name in, your birthday, and your location. You do not need to know people's times of birth to have an accurate North Node. Now, that does mean if you don't have the time of birth, none of the houses will appear. And this is what I mean by houses. Do you see these numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are the houses. We're only looking at the signs right through here. We want to know what sign your North Node is in. So this one's in Pisces. I'm going to go around just in case you are absolutely brand new and don't know what any of the sign symbols are. So let's say your North Node is in this area, which would be Aries. This one is Taurus. The bull is Taurus. This one is Gemini, Cancer, Leo. Leo looks a little bit like the North Node, just to let you know. This is Virgo. We have Libra here, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius. An easier way to look at it is if you follow my cursor and you come over to this box over here on the left, you're going to look right here where it says True Node, and it says Pisces on it. PIS means Pisces. So you would be able to figure out the planet or the sign that it's in by taking a look at this area. So I just want to make sure that everyone who's here understands how it is to find their north node, or their true node, as they call it here on this chart. So I'm going to take a quick drink and let's see if Keely's has anybody who says they can't figure it out.
No, I think everybody so far is able to follow that.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah, I had never actually seen the those symbols for the zodiac signs done that way.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad you went through that, only because for me, the only thing that would have thrown me off, and I'm certainly familiar with astrology, is the Cancer one kind of looks like that symbol that a lot of people would use for, the yin and the yang and stuff.
Yeah.
So I would have thought that would have been Gemini. So I'm glad you went through that so I could see that wasn't the case.
Yeah, every astrology site kind of looks at it differently, but yeah, so that is that. And I do believe probably what that person was talking about, referring to him, was the number 8, the 18th degree. And again, not going to get into that in this class. That has to do with more aspects. So let's just say this. So now, knowing that this is my north node, south node does not show up on the chart anywhere. It's not going to say south node. Like over here, it won't say south node. How do you know what your south node is? By going directly across your sign that your north node is in. So for instance, this person's is in Pisces, and when you go directly across, that means their south node is in Virgo. Why is that important? You'll learn in just a second why that's important, but it's the thing that I think is so cool about it is that I want you to understand how it is you would find that, because you're never going to say, okay, it doesn't say anywhere on this chart my south node is. How did she know that? How I know it is because it's always directly across, which means it would be 6 houses away. So 3 minus 9 would be 6 houses. So that's how I know that it's going to be in Virgo. So again, south node, this down here for this particular chart, tells us that that's kind of what you probably came in knowing really well. So for this person who has Virgo as their south node, when they're triggered, it's going to be very easy for them to act out in a Virgo kind of way. When they're stretching themselves, learning more about their enlightenment, they're going to be wanting to work towards this area, your north node. So let me go into the differences between all of that. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each one of the signs so that I'm trying to find where to put my face. Okay. So that you can get to know them, because again, if you're in partnership, if you have a child, make sure that you're going on and grabbing what theirs are so that you can kind of have a better idea of what they're here to do in this lifetime, in the very grand big scheme. So when we're looking at it right now, we're looking at it from the really big perspective. We're not getting into the finite details, because there's always much more than what I'm going to explain now, but this is a great place for you to start. So Aries, if you find that your north node is in Aries, and Aries again is that ram sign, okay? It's like a V with hooks on it. You're here to really learn about putting yourself first. It's about exercising your masculinity. And I can hear moans in the back of my head because for a lot of people, we're all learning to be more feminine and to find that feminine balance. And for those people who came in with Aries in their north node, they're going to be like, what? You're here to be independent. You're here to be wild and really honest with yourself. You're here to exercise. You're here to take action in this lifetime. You're here to get up and go. Now, within that, here's your permission slip, because sometimes we need permission slips to get moving on the north node. Yours is it's okay to show up really strong. It's okay to create a really vivid and wide reaction to things. Now, some people would say, oh, I don't want to be that person. That's not how I want to be viewed by the world. Remember that your north node is that part of you that's trying to stretch you so that you can be your empowered self. You can be enlightened. You can truly understand that you're going to be learning something new about yourself. That's why it's uncomfortable. When you first learn this, sometimes it can be very, very uncomfortable, because think about it. Let's say you are, Let's say you're a Cancer. That is your sun sign is a Cancer, and your North Node is in Aries. This could be kind of an uncomfortable North Node for you because you, as a Cancerian, want to like handle and nurture everyone else. When in reality, if your Aries is in your North Node, you're here to be fierce and independent. So it's going to feel very foreign to you. That's okay. And your affirmation for this spot would be, my soul is a warrior who activates stuck energy. So if you have Aries and North Node, you bet your butt, I would tell you, you better start exercising. You better start moving your body all the time, because that's part of who you are, is to get that adrenaline and that masculinity out and about and to be seen and heard. So whether that's Tai Chi, karate, yoga, kickboxing, running, doesn't matter. Move your body. You will feel much lighter, much brighter, and much more in alignment. So the next one would be if your North Node is in Libra, and you got it. Libra's all about relationships. It's about doing relationships this time. Learning to compromise. And also for your North Node, it's that you are an artist in some way or fashion. So some people who I've talked to is like, my North Node's in Libra. I'm not an artist. It's like, well, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a hairdresser. Well, that would be kind of being an artist. Like, you know how to make things beautiful. So however that artistry comes up for you, that is something that you really need to focus upon. And you came here to be changeable and flexible. Libras did in North Node. You came here to help other people stretch, including yourself. So your permission slip is, my purpose is fulfilled by dancing with another. I'm allowed to take my time in deciding what matters most to me. And your affirmation is, my relationships are my art form. How beautiful is that? So not only can you look at art in creativity, you can look at art as in relationships and how you're learning to compromise. So Libra and Aries are right across from each other. So if your North Node is in Libra, your South Node would be Aries, which would tell me that when you get triggered and you're frustrated, it will be really easy for you to default into your Aries emotional set point, which would be, you would want to be argumentative with the person. You'd want to be super independent. You wouldn't want to be in relationships or even work on them. If your North Node is in Aries and you are triggered and you're kind of in a lower frequency in the moment, it will be really easy for you to go into just compromising or just kind of caving into what other people want instead of you being independent and speaking up to what you need and what you want. So hopefully that helps you, that you're seeing the correlation between those two, because one's the North Node, one's the South Node. Remember, South Node is what you came in already knowing, already easy for you to do, probably was in your past life. North Node's new and it stretches you. Okay. Second or third one is Taurus. So Taurus, when it comes to your North Node, is really learning to be grounded and to embrace stability, to embrace this idea of being conservative and kind of predictable. You will want to have, money, being conscious of money, how you spend it, where you spend it at. Stability will be perfect for you. You might be the person who will have to learn how to get into a routine and really enjoy it for yourself, knowing that being slow and steady is okay for you in your North Node. And your permission slip here would be, it's okay that I find comfort in routine. It's okay that my home is my sanctuary and I need simplicity, because you might be somebody who doesn't necessarily want stability all the time, and that you may want to just work. And your North Node is going to stretch you and say, no, it's time to slow down and embrace this stability and predictability. That's your friend. That's what you need to learn to embrace for yourself. If your North Node is in Scorpio, you are going to be more fascinated or interested in those deeper topics, sometimes scarier topics like death and dying. You're going to be somebody who's going to want to really stretch yourself to learn more about creating bigger financial dreams, sexuality, being seen and heard, and expressing and dancing. You're going to learn to embrace your intensity. So it's interesting because these two mirror one another. So if my North Node is in Scorpio and I'm here to learn to express my sexuality, to dress, to dance, to allow myself to be fascinated with anything that is deeper, when I am triggered, I will hop into my South Node, which is Taurus, which means that you could become very fearful of money. You could be somebody who is just seeking habits and comfort and minimalizing financial comfort and appetite. And if your North Node is in Taurus, your South Node would be in Scorpio. So if you were a Taurus and you're trying to learn this stability and all of a sudden you get triggered, you're probably going to go into being a little bit overindulgent in some way. You could be controlling, a little stinging with your words because that's what you knew in your prior lifetime. So those are those two. We're going to go to the next one. Sorry, there's a lot of notes on this. So let's say your North Node is in Gemini. Okay, so Gemini, as you can see in this picture, she's here, she's talking, she's a teacher, she's learning, she is a multitasker. And it's interesting because the more you study now, there's more research saying that you really can't multitask. And I really beg to differ for people who are having their North Node in Gemini. Don't push yourself out of this idea that I'm only supposed to focus in on one thing. It will drive you batty. You need to embrace being multitasking, having the radio on and still being able to write a paper. I mean, to me, that's multitasking. You've got like a split brain, and that's what Gemini is all about. So for you with the North Node, that's what you're here to embrace. You're allowed to give yourself and not feel guilty about changing your mind or your career. You may be somebody who is going to shift careers several times, or even hobbies or interests or what you study, because that's what Geminis love. They love to learn and to expand and then teach it to the world, and they're good at it. So your permission slip is that you're fascinated with this world and the many interests of it, and I'm allowed to change my mind, my career, and be a perpetual student. Isn't that, if there's anybody out there who has that, congratulations to you. I think the permission slips are very important to hear and understand. And your mantra would be, change is a virtue and I am a free spirit. Now, if your North Node is in Sagittarius, you are the adventure seeker. You are the person who will always want to be learning things. You'll read, you'll study, you'll find humor in things, and you won't take life too seriously. You are always ready for the next grand adventure. And you can take a larger aspect in anything from politics. You see the bigger picture. You're very open-minded. And you like to learn broader topics. So if that is your North Node, what a fun North Node, by the way, in my opinion. I think that's a great one to have that ability. So your permission slip is, it's time for you to speak up about what it is you're learning, your philosophies. It's safe for you to do that and not to take things too personally. Sagittarius can make things into a joke. And so when you are in the high frequency of learning your North Node, that's what the Sagittarius is all about. So let's say Sagittarius North Node, so your South Node would be in Gemini, which would mean if you get triggered, you might have a lot of internal dialogue that really discourages you. It might be very easy for you to have a lot of scattered thoughts and lose focus on things. Even though your Sagittarius is in your North Node, that's what you would default to, is Gemini in the South Node, your past life. Gemini North Node, Sagittarius South Node would be that you'd want to escape. So let's say you're back in Gemini as your North Node. If you're getting triggered by something, you might notice yourself going into Sagittarius ways, and not in the high frequency. It would be more like you will not commit to things. You want to escape. You want to hide out, and you'll want to be a know-it-all. So I always find that when you're at that point, it will snap you out of it, reminding you, oh, that's right, that was my old ways. It's so easy for me to go there because it's what I know. And instead you have to hop up to your North Node. Okay. Cancer. First of all, Cancers, I think, are one of those signs, whether it's North Node or not, that kind of gets a bad rap because we have been a society that for some reason really thinks that working outside of the home has more value than being inside of the home. So if your North Node is in Cancer, you are here to play house. You are here to be a nurturer. You are in, whether you're a parent or not, you can nurture dogs, you can nurture other loved ones. And you're here to do that. Cook, clean, nurture. And your emotions tell you everything. And that's another part of being a Cancer with North Node, is understanding how to trust your emotional body. So if you cry as a Cancer North Node, understand that the tears are telling you that there's something important here, right? So your permission slip is, it's okay that I'm sensitive, and it's okay that my family is my importance, whatever your family looks like. And it's okay for me to be an introvert. A lot of Cancers with North Node will be introverts also, and to reach out. And your affirmation would be, my emotional realm is my gift. And if your North Node is in Capricorn, you came into this lifetime to be grounded and to be efficient and to be ambitious and basically to work at whatever it is that you want to work at. You will be that person who takes your skills and abilities to reach that top of the mountain for whatever industry that you're into. Typically, you're not about family. You're not about nurturing people in that way. You're here actually to reach your furthest potential in whatever it is that gives you interest. Capricorns I always consider like workhorses. So if that is your North Node, it may be kind of uncomfortable at first because you may think, oh shit, I should be a little bit more compassionate or this or that. No. Keep doing what you're supposed to be doing with your North Node. Finding out what you're interested in and then moving forward. So your permission is, I'm allowed to be powerful and seek excellence. And it's interesting because you'll find a lot of politicians and male executives have a Capricorn in their North Node. Now I'm finding finally that a lot of women are discovering that that is theirs too. And it's okay to be that way. I think we have, that's why I always think that this Cancer Capricorn one is kind of interesting because it kind of goes against the grain again of what our culture is saying right now. So know that it's okay for you to be climbing to the top of your industry, whatever that may be, for yourself. So that is your permission. I'm allowed to be powerful and seek excellence and be the best. I love to be in charge. That's what Capricorns come in. They come in and they take charge of things. Your affirmation is, I'm a compassionate leader who values family as much as results. And that would be your balance act within that one, is to understand that it's important for you to find that balance between the both. And again, we've just talked about Cancer and Capricorn, which are directly across from one another. They mirror one another. So if one is the North Node, the other one is the South Node. So if you're a Capricorn North Node, South Node would be Cancer. And for you, when you're triggered, it might be really easy for you just to go back into the family and to be distracted by your family and not move forward in what it is that you need to move forward in. If your North Node is in Cancer, that means your South Node is in Capricorn. And of course, that would mean that you are valuing achievement more than you're valuing your family. And you need to take a look at that. Let's move to the Leos out in the world. So Leo North Node, you're really here to shine. You're here to show off. You're here to be dramatic. You are here to stand up and ask for the attention, and you're here to support the underdog. Demand attention. And this one's interesting, and I will share this. One of my sons has a Leo in North Node, and there are times when he is speaking to me. He is in his 20s, and I think when you're in your 20s, you are very self-absorbed. That's where you're supposed to be. You're learning how you belong in the world and how you create. But there are some times within our conversations that I'll notice that it's all about him. And when I learned that this was his North Node, I could let go of like, oh, I should really cue him in on that. No. For right now, that's exactly what he's supposed to be doing. He's learning how to do that. He'll talk about himself a lot. So that's why I say it's interesting to find out about people around you, to find out what theirs is, because in the past, had I not known that, I may have pulled him back from standing and being in front and being heard. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I learned this. So if your North Node is an Aquarius, you will beat to your own drummer. You're supposed to. You will have urges to go down pathways that no one else has done. You will want to be the innovator, but you will probably have moments of like, oh crap, I really don't want to, I don't really want to step on anybody's toes here. I want to kind of follow. And with this Aquarius in your North Node, you're here to break the rules. You're here to actually communicate and learn things and regurgitate it out to people. It's funny. Someone had told me that North Node people with Aquarius as their North Node in the past have been royalty. And so they kind of know what it's like to have things being catered to them. But in this lifetime, they're supposed to be doing it for the whole collective and not just for themselves. And that's what they struggle with a little bit. So again, we're looking at the parallel mirrors here. So there is the Leo and the Aquarius here. So if Leo is a North Node, you will easily go into, when you're triggered, putting yourself aside and letting the group or the family come before you. You'll isolate, you'll act like you don't matter. And remember, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're supposed to be being seen and heard. But let's say Aquarius is the North Node. Again, Aquarius is all about humanitarianism, changing things up, innovation, looking at things from a different perspective, breaking the rules. But for you, it will be easy to hop into that Leo South Node, feeling a little entitled, feeling maybe a little guilty, and thinking that you're not as important as you really are. Those will be your go-tos if you're triggered by it. Permission slip for the Aquarians is you don't have to follow. You're allowed to have unusual conversations, and in other words, be weird and let that freak flag flow. I love that. Love that. Just be yourself within all of that. Okay, and then we're hopping into the last two. So we have a Virgo picture. This, to me, this woman would be a Virgo picture. She's making lists. She's checking in twice. She is a workhorse. She also can, if it is in your North Node, Virgo in your North Node, that's what you're here to learn. You're here to learn how to become more organized, how to become more structured, how to be health conscious, how to take care of money, how to provide for other people selflessly. And while you're doing that in your North Node, Virgo, you're allowed to be a little bit pickier in how you're doing it. Virgos in the North Node are kind of those people that will notice little things such as, oh, I drive a lot of, I'm sure Virgo's crazy because of my spelling errors that I do and everything that I send out. But that's part of who you're here to be, is to kind of have more structure and order. Your permission is you're allowed to be picky and discerning, and you deserve slack around self-image. You are better than you know. Typically, Virgos can be pretty brutal to themselves internally. And so if this is your North Node, you're going to want to be very conscious of not beating yourself up for not being perfect. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to organize and get some structure and learn how to be conscientious of things. Oh, there I am. What a beautiful picture. It's before my hair is gray. Pisces is the last one. So if you have a North Node in Pisces, which probably quite a few of you people do here, because it does go by, timelines. I know a lot of people are around my age here. You're here to indulge in altered states. You're here to be a full-blown psychic or a medium. You're here to learn about everything that has to do with mysticism. And you're allowed to change your mind a lot and do it regularly, because you're here to teach people that it's okay to take away and learn your intuition and not use your logic, to trust your intuition. So if you have Virgo as your north node, Pisces would be your south node, which would mean when you're in your good space and you're working on it, you're learning to become a selfless person to serve others, you're learning how to organize. But when you're triggered, you will want to go into the Pisces world because that's where you came from. It's your south node, and you'll want to avoid and to escape things, and you will deny the woo-woo, and you will say, I only follow my logic. If Pisces is your north node, that means Virgo is your south node, which means you can easily step back into that goody role. You can go back into, oh no, I got to help everybody else. I got to go back into my Virgo. I got to go back and help everybody else and make sure everybody else feels safe and secure before I go back into my own learning of everything woo, everything that helps your intuition grow. I didn't tell permissions on these, did I? So Pisces, your permission is you are allowed to value the world and thrive when you are in retreat. I love that. And the permission slip for the Virgos is you're allowed to be picky and discerning. Oh, I did do that one. Okay, very good. So those are the differences. Now I am going to tell you that in my chart, this is my chart. Okay, again, north node here. So Virgo is my south node, but this is in the 9th house. And I will share this with you. If you know your house is great, you'll be able to discern this even more for yourself. So I am supposed to be in that dreamy world, that alter state, and learn things, but I'm also in the house of Sagittarius. That's what the 9th house is, which means I will always be learning. I will constantly be learning. It is, and I used to beat myself up for that. I would think, oh my God, okay, I just learned faster EFT. And now I'm moving on to the emotional code. Okay, I'm taking another course. And this is after I graduated with a degree in psychology and social work, by the way. So after that, I just started taking all of these classes. My credentials are ridiculous with all the things I've learned. And I used to beat myself up about it. Like, why am I so attracted to learning all this stuff? Like, this is just crazy for me. And then I saw it was in my 9th house. And then I started laughing. That is who I'm here to be. And when I learned to give myself permission to keep learning, keep teaching other people, going on the next adventure, I don't do it in an egoic way. It's just this, now it is just this drive I have, this excitement of like, oh my gosh, I really am here to learn this and to teach it so I can let go of all of my academia. Not that I don't bring it with me, but it's safe for me to do that. And there was such a relief for me to know that. And I hope that's what some of you are going to find for yourself or your partners or your children or your friends, is that that's why they do that. Those are the aha moments I hope you're all going to have after this course, is to be able to give other people permission to be themselves, because it does look differently. Like when I realized my son was supposed to be out and about and like, hello, it's me, I'm here. Like, it shifted so much for myself as a parent and how I interacted with them, because each child is so different. My husband is so different than even my other son, who have the same exact north node, but they're in different houses. So it looks completely different. So just to entertain a little bit more about the houses, let's say this north node, instead of being in the 9th house, would be in that's not a good example. I'm trying to think of a drastic one. Let's say it would be in the 5th house. Okay. So let's say this north node, everything had shifted and this said 5th house here. So what would that mean is that I'm still here to learn and dream and indulge in all the mysticism and the channeling and all that other good stuff. But in the 5th house, that's the house of Leo. That would mean that I'm supposed to be standing out on the stage and saying, hey, you guys need to hear this stuff. And to be very dramatic about it. So that's how the houses give like a second layer to all of this for you. So for those of you that can read charts, that should help you out to be able to do that. Okay, I'm going to take a quick drink.
Yeah.
Are there
Okay.
questions?
So yeah, there's a question in terms of the word here is compatibility.
Mm.
So if, because there are books out there that say, oh, if you're a Leo, then person's a good match for you in a relationship, kind of a thing. They match them according to those signs, right? Of course, relationships are a lot more complex.
Yeah.
But with the compatibility is, if you're north, let's using the, what was it, Pisces and what was the counterpart to the Pisces that you just did? Virgo.
Virgo.
Right. So let's say if your north node is Virgo, if you were in a relationship with somebody whose north node was Pisces, does that compatibility kind of like help each person?
Well, it would in one
help
sense,
each other out. Would that complement them well?
I don't know.
Or,
I would use the word compliment. What I would say is that you would probably have a better understanding because it's easy for you to go into the Virgo. If you're a Pisces North node, it's easy for you to go into the Virgo. So you're going to recognize that.
gotcha.
And you're also going to be able to recognize it for the partner or the child. Like, oh, okay. When they're not in their good place, they'll exhibit the same behavior. So you'll be able to like have a better perception of it because it's your counterpart, it's your mirror, right? It's your mirror effect because it's the opposite of it. Now, when it comes to like compatibility within relationships, I don't think that your North Node tells you that. This is about your own enlightenment.
Okay.
This is about your Dharma. This is about what you're here to stretch yourself to be, not what you came in. Like your sun sign tells you your personality, who you came in to be, right? Your ascending sign tells you what you're working towards during this lifetime to show up and be. You won't show any of that until you're older, but your North Node tells you, hey, this will be uncomfortable. And you may not even recognize that this is what you're supposed to be doing because it doesn't show up in the chart. It isn't somewhere, there isn't a planetary influence on it. It's something that you have to play with yourself to see, oh my God, I feel really good when I do this. So let's say for somebody who does have Leo as their North Node, and they're like, it does feel really good. Like, I shouldn't say this. And this is what's going to happen for people who have North Nodes and Leo. For a lot of them, they're going to say, I don't like to really stand up, but I really like to stand up. It feels really good when I do it. But there's that part of me that wants to battle and say, you shouldn't be standing out. You should be a part of the group, blah, 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 blah. That's where the difference is between the nodes, the North Node and the South Node, is that it's contrast. You're going to be dealing with contrast with all this. Because for me as a Pisces North Node, I felt like, oh, I can do any job and I can be really good at it. I can be extremely efficient at it, work. And that's easy for me. But to slow down and say, oh my gosh, like all this stuff I really, really like, I'm supposed to be doing, how is my family going to react to that? And that's typically the response you'll have when you first discover what your North Node is. You'll have a little apprehension to it. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Actually.
Okay, I'm going to take just a second and spray a shape-shifting spray. I forgot to do that earlier. Okay, now. So here is another great thing that you can do for yourself once you've discovered your North Node. And let's say you have a partner or friend who wants to kind of discover this and you want to support them in it. These would be two great questions. I would just take a timer out, write down the questions, and spend some time in the next week asking yourself, when I heard my North Node, what fear came up for me? So for me, for example, when I found out it was Pisces, my initial reaction was like, ooh, I'm so excited. And then there was this other part of me that's like, oh, how am I going to look to the world? God darn it all. How am I going to look to my family? They're all going to think I'm crazy, or, there's a lot of belief systems. I have to work through this in order for me to really embrace learning this type of stuff. The second question would be, what does excite you about your North Node? Because that's, of course, what we want to lead with. It isn't something that's going to come easily. That's why we call it the shortcut to enlightenment. It's because your higher soul self is pushing you to try something different than what you've done before in this lifetime, in this particular body. It's going to push you to actively seek it out and be it. So let's say, your North Node is in Taurus and you're like, oh my God, simplicity. Like, I'm so used to going and digging deep. And because the opposite of that would be Scorpio. And so you're gonna be like, no, I want to go deep and I want to have more drama in my life. And the idea of slowing down a Scorpio, I mean, that's like, what? I don't want to do that. But the more you practice it, the easier it gets and the more fulfilled you'll feel. And that's what I love about this. The more you practice your North Node and embrace it, the easier and the more self-fulfilling self-actualization can happen for yourself. And that to me is a huge gift for all of us. So Any more questions popping up for people?
Well, someone commented that they were cringing at the accuracy of it all.
I know, isn't it the truth? It's so true. It's so true, especially when you hear yourself know, you're like, oh, yep, that's exactly what I do. That's exactly what I do. But it's cool because when you see what your self note is and how you do respond to the world, when I always say the word trigger, but when you're in fear, or sadness, or overwhelm, and how you go back to that, it actually becomes like an alarm that can go off in your head. And you're like, I'm acting like my old self. I'm acting like my old self. Okay, so how would my higher soul self, that aspect that wants me to grow and stretch, how should I respond to this in a different way? It causes us to pause and relearn all of that. I'm trying to look through my notes real quick on the rest of it.
And I like that how it gives a more expanded view of things, because especially when you coming into with astrology and they say, well, this is your sign, and
Mhm.
there have to be, many of us who are like, okay, that's my sign, but some of that stuff really just doesn't fit, because it's there's so much more in
Yes.
depth. And a lot of people, I think, don't realize that, or they might unfortunately dismiss the entire astrology as a whole, because they're like, oh, they said I was this, but that doesn't fit me at all, blah blah blah, without knowing that is just one aspect of a much bigger picture.
Yeah, how true is that when people say, oh, my husband's this, and I'm like, well, what's his, what's his moon sign, what's his this, and when they're like, oh, I don't know, it's like, okay, well, you're only honing in on one perspective, because you think about it, like, even you could just take and study one of these aspects for your entire group of people that you hang with or you live with, and you yourself will be able to change and interact and how you view everything. It's like if you knew your significant other's moon sign, changes everything, because your moon sign is all about your emotions, which means how you interpret, how you experience emotions, how you express emotions. That tells you so much. So knowing that, let's say your child's north node is in Aquarius. When they say Aquarians is like, let your freak flag show, they're not kidding. They're really here to be. And I know that because that's my moon. When you can help them to embrace that side of themselves is when they'll find more magic. They'll find what they're supposed to be doing in the world. They'll get to experience it by you saying it's okay that you look at it differently and that you really want to empower other people and you want big change. There's a lot of kids out there right now with that in their north node, and I think it's showing up in the world every day. And again, talking about the world, knowing that things are changing and shifting so quickly, keeping in focus how it is that you are here to respond to the world will give you gifts on how you can perceive and interact with all the changes that are going on globally. So that's kind of exciting. Good questions, you guys. Good questions. Okay, so I did really want to keep this closer to an hour. So I'm going to go over a couple more things. I'll leave it open for a few more questions. So I'm going to kind of keep going on this journey with these free classes right now in regards to astrology. We'll see how this goes. But the next class is November 2nd. It's Saturn's influence in your natal chart. You can find that on the Facebook page. If you're there, you can go into my events, or you can go to theclarityroom.net and sign up there under free classes. I do want to talk really quickly about the Clarity Room. It is a membership site in which we all get to learn and experience how it is that we're dealing with our emotional self, our alchemist self, and we learn divination tools. I consider astrology a divination tool. We'll soon be talking more about tools and techniques. That's what we're always doing every month. And you get two free classes a month if you join it. I think it's like $22 to join it. You get 2 classes a month. You get a full meditation area that you can dive into for yourself. So there's lots and lots and lots. But if you're somebody who's really wanting to learn more about you, I recommend you sign up for the life purpose sessions with me. I do the astrology, astrogeography, and now human design. So if you're wanting to learn more about yourself, go ahead and do that. I'm going to stop this share. I'm going to go back here. Hello, everybody. Okay. So I think I'm feeling complete. Have I missed anything, Achilles?
You have not already. I put in both chats the if anybody is interested in the newsletter to go ahead
Okay.
and
Yeah.
they could message me, or they could just for the Facebook Live, I put your email address in there.
Okay.
But yeah, you covered everything, including the next class. I like the little slide thing that you have for that.
Getting more efficient on all this, aren't
Yeah,
I?
yeah, it's looking good.
Okay, so the other thing that I haven't even gotten up on my website, for some of you that have already done astrogeography and astrology with me, I've been talking about making planetary bracelets, and I do have some of them. So if you're somebody who understands astrology a little bit and you're looking for more Venus, more Mars, more Pluto, which is your transformation, or Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Pluto. I have those bracelets made. I've been collaborating with Ren Stone, Cindy. And so I have some in my home office. I've actually got the Venus one on today. So what it is that these bracelets actually bring the essence of the planet and the meanings of the planet into your life. So today I put on my love bracelet because that's what Venus is. It's all about beauty and creativity. And I wanted to feel that today. Mars actually helps you kind of, if you're somebody who kind of lacks in getting things started and moving forward and finding that balance. Like if your North Node is in Aries and you're like, yeah, I still don't feel it, that bracelet would be really great for you. So like, because it's all reds. It's a beautiful, beautiful one. Pluto, if you're in the middle of a transformation. In fact, I sent out a friend who is moving to her North Node. I sent her out with the Pluto bracelet, which is all about change. And then we now have the Jupiter. Jupiter's kind of like the good luck charm, finances and prosperity and growth in that aspect. So we'll soon have all the planets out, but right now we've got the 4 completed and I haven't shown it to anybody. So you guys are the first to see it. So that's what we've got. I appreciate everyone coming on. I'm hoping to hear more and more about people's North Nodes and how you're experiencing it. Please reach out to me at info@michellemcguinness.com if you have any questions, comments, or aha moments from this session tonight. And I think that's about it. Any other last questions from people on Facebook or on Zoom, Achilles? Are we pretty good?
No, I have Erica here. I think she was saying she loves the bracelets. They look.
Oh,
I mean, and the thing is that like I've seen them in person, and it's like it just really is just so it really is so amazing.
they're beautiful, aren't they? They've been fun to make.
Yeah.
Fun to make. All right, you guys, love and blessings. Go forward and learn it. Learn what your placement is, what house it's in, and dig a little deeper for yourself. That's the fun part of this stuff is you just never stop learning. Never stop learning about yourself. It's great news. Hugs to you all and many blessings as we walk into October. And I will talk to everyone soon.